Californians are panic buying hemp as expected THC ban is put into place. So Gavin Newsom has set off a surge of panic buying hemp after his announcement earlier this month that he's attempting to outlaw all hemp products, a category of cannabis sold outside of licensed marijuana stores. The emergency ban could hit Californians as early as Thursday, which was yesterday, outlawing the sale of products that contains THC outside of a legal marijuana store. Currently, hemp THC products are sold widely through online retailers, liquor stores, and convenience stores. Californians who rely on hemp products to treat a wide range of medical conditions, including severe epilepsy, appear to be the customers who are most concerned about the ban. Paige Figge, who you may remember is the late Charlotte Figge's mom, that Charlotte's Web was named after, a nationwide hemp advocate and founder of a hemp company, said some California families are panic buying thousands of dollars of hemp products before the ban goes into effect. I know people who have cleared their bank accounts, Figge told SF Gate on Monday. These are veterans and first responders and moms of very sick kids. They don't have the money to spend on these things. Newsom's Department of Public Health filed an emergency ban on hemp THC, which includes a strict definition barring any product with a detectable amount of total THC. I'm going to stop there just for a second. So there's two things that we always have to be concerned about when you're talking about the amount or the potency of THC. There's something called the limit of quantitation, or LOQ, but there's also something called the limit of detection. The limit of detection is always going to be lower than the limit of quantitation because it's below the concentration at which you can reasonably assume what the concentration is from your measurement. You can detect it, you just can't quantify it. This ban is saying no, zero detectable amounts of THC, which I think is below 1 part per million. So that's a pretty tall order, Gavin. With the Office of Administration Law earlier this month, OAL can either approve or deny the emergency ban depending on whether the agency believes the rule meets the statutory requirements of emergency rulemaking. I don't think it does, but let's see if it happens. An OAL spokesperson who spoke on the condition of anonymity or of being anonymous told SF Gate that it could be approved as early as Thursday of this week. California's proposed emergency ban comes as the hemp industry explodes in popularity across the country with a wide variety of hot products, from THC-infused drinks and intoxicating vape pens to cannabis cosmetics and medical tinctures. This proliferation of hemp has occurred with few regulations and outside of state-licensed cannabis stores, causing widespread concern from public health advocates that intoxicating products could be contaminated and could be easily available to underage kids. California lawmakers have tried or have attempted to bring the hemp industry under tighter regulations before, including proposing a new bill this year that would have banned hemp THC outside legal stores. That bill failed in the legislative session this year amid concerns that it would harm certain medical patients who rely on high doses of hemp CBD, a non-intoxicating cannabis compound, to manage their conditions. Stephanie Bone, whose daughter uses CBD to treat seizures associated with a rare neurological disease, told SF Gate that her family is the collateral damage in Newsom's ban. Bone purchases hemp products that have high levels of CBD and low levels of THC to help her daughter manage her condition. The presence of THC makes them illegal according to Newsom's proposed ban. Bonnie Goldstein, she should be Dr. Bonnie Goldstein, a Los Angeles medical doctor who treats Bone's daughter, previously told SFGate that low levels of THC are not intoxicating but are medically necessary to control the seizures. Concerns that CBD products will not be available are unfounded. The emergency regulations do not impact the ability of consumers to obtain hemp-based CBD that does not contain THC in the general consumer market, or to obtain cannabis-based CBD in THC dispensaries throughout California. Bone, Goldstein, and Figge disagreed, telling SFGate that Newsom's office is incorrect and that patients who depend on certain hemp medicines will not be able to buy those same products after the at the state-regulated marijuana stores. When California's legal marijuana stores do carry some products with CBD, including products that are similar to high CBD tinctures, like the ones that Bone's daughter takes, and marijuana stores don't necessarily sell the same tinctures that contain massive amounts of CBD that patients with complex medical conditions require, according to Goldstein. Goldstein said to some of her patients need to take as much as 1,600 milligrams of CBD a day and use specialized tinctures sold on the hemp market that can have as much as 6,000 milligrams in a single bottle. Retail stores in California rarely sell tinctures with more than 600 milligrams in a bottle, according to SFGate research. They currently do not exist in dispensaries, said Figge, a hemp advocate. That's wishful thinking. If that's somehow that's not harming consumers in California, they're wrong. The patients and doctors also say that Newsom's complete ban is missing a simple fix. They say the state could ban intoxicating hemp products while still maintaining access to these medical tinctures by following the lead that Colorado, which does allow hemp products to have THC, has, as long as they have a high ratio of CBD containing in those products. But with most hemp ban appearing imminent, in California, Bone says families like hers are fanatically navigating how to care for the family members who rely on hemp products. She said Newsom turned back the clock on these disabled people with the emergency order, which she says does not need to be implemented outside the legislative process. This is not an emergency, Bone said. There is no forest fire. There is no earthquake. This is not a natural disaster, and it deserves more care, and it's a slap in the face to the disabled community that he's not willing to take the time to address this properly. So I think, we've talked about this before on High at 9. This is very sweeping executive action territory. It looks like it failed in the legislature, right, Jason?
Yep.
And here it is, the governor is going to be like, well, okay, there's an emergency going on, so we have to stop this right now. I don't think this is going to be effective at all, because it's just going to drive everything to the trap market whenever they try to ban anything, especially popular products that help kids alive. So that's my story today. It's Friday from here at St. Michael's College in the wonderful state of Vermont. That's what I have to say. I'd be interested in what my correspondents have to comment on this story.
Is it possible to recall Newsom again?
I just would like to say I'm really disappointed in all these sick and disabled people for not making enough money to afford their treatment. It's completely on them.
Listen, I would like to just acknowledge, all right, so I'm just going to say it, and I can be the asshole that I am, because that's what I do. Paige, I appreciate you. I do appreciate the work, and the story Charlotte's story was a huge, huge, huge success for hemp and for patient access, and shout out to the Canna Moms. However, I don't necessarily believe now that the Stanley brothers got involved with that. The whole narrative kind of changed a bit with Paige, and there's been a lot of parading of Charlotte, unfortunately, for monetary gain. So, and those are the same people who are pushing parents to spend their last dollars, and they're bad parents if they don't give their last dollars and pay exorbitant amounts for hemp-based medication. So I think when we're looking at their completely depleting their bank accounts and things like that, how far are you pushing them to do that? You know, like, we'll find a way for access for kids. We've always done it. We always will do it. There are people who will get you and your sick kids what you need. But I don't like the fear-mongering portion of this article. And as a mother and as someone who, like, my favorite part of my career working with sick children, I just wanted to address that.
I'd just like to say that I'm disappointed in my far-left correspondent Jenny's answer. That's anti-capitalist, and as a recent Trump convert, if you can't afford medicine, you should fucking die. You're a drain on the system.
Oh, man. You know what? I think... I'll go ahead, Dr. T, please.
I wanted to give some advice to people out there who are in California and who rely on their type 3 CBD, quote-unquote, hemp products. They can buy it online. They could, just because your retailer can no longer sell it to you in California, the retailer in Nevada will be happy to send it to you. This ban does nothing to stop access to the medicine that you need. It's a silly idea.
I totally agree with you, Dr. T. It is a ridiculous idea. I don't know where they're going to be able to enforce this at, and I haven't seen anybody taking anything off of any shelves in any of these stores, and you know what I mean, throughout my neighborhood or whatnot. But
well, they banned the favored vapes, and me and Rico seem to find those just fine. So.
Exactly, and I did put Gavin Newsom's email and phone number. If you want to reach out to Gavin and give him your peace of mind on all of this, you can feel free to email him and give him a call. His number and email are in the chat.
Jason, do you remember this?
I don't know what you're doing, Jenny.
Can you see it?
No.
Safe to say.
Oh, yeah. Shout
I
out
heard
to
Gavin
that.
Newsom uses distillate as a hair
You
gel.
can't see me. Oh, boy.
Well, one point to bring up here is that, like in a bottle of tincture, like if you're looking at like a 30 ml tincture bottle with the dropper on it, if you're putting raw hemp distillate or raw hemp extract in there, and you dilute it down with MCT, you're diluting the amount of THC back down to that below the 0.3%. So the federal government says that bottle is legal, right? California exists inside the United States, and the United States says that bottle is legal. So what's Gavin Newsom's executive action? It's a bunch of hot air. I think he's been probably co-opted by the cannabis license holders who see it's not really the tinctures for the.
You think? Dr.
No, it's
Mark?
not the tinctures. It's the hemp derived THC that's basically replacing having to go to the dispensary and buy in the regulated market, right? So to me,
he wants the tax revenue. He wants the tax revenue. He's like, hey, all these hemp
they
businesses
can have
are
their cake and eat it, right?
No.
Have their cake and eat it.
No.
Like, I think
No.
it's not just about the tax revenue.
No.
I think if they did a little bit better of a job at this in identifying the psychoactive ones versus, things that are truly medicine for patients like epileptics and others, they could have easily carved that out.
Not
they
a chance.
didn't.
They have no
So
interest.
you got to wonder.
Totally
They have
right.
no interest in doing that, Dr. Mark. Zero
All right,
interest
hold on,
in that.
Jason.
Go ahead.
This is a problem, and Dr. Mark just made an excellent point. That's why I wanted to let him finish it, because I saw where he was going, and it's brilliant. Because this is a problem of people who don't understand what they're regulating these industries, right? They don't know how to necessarily line out what is safe, what is not safe, what somebody pulled out of their mother liquor and is now selling to you that's going to get you high as all hell. They don't know what a child needs to keep a normal day to day, and maybe only have 2 seizures instead of 20, so we're being regulated by a group of people who don't understand the industry they're tasked with regulating.
That is very,
and Bonnie Goldstein in this article brings up a very important point, and Dr. T, you could certainly speak to this, is these tinctures are below the psychoactive level of THC when taken orally. So there is no real psychoactivity associated with these oral CBD tinctures. Dr. T, do you agree with that?
Bonnie will also tell you that kids don't get as high as adults do. They tend to have less CB1 receptors, and so their effect. And why does high equal a problem? That's the other thing. Like, just because you're getting high, does that mean that you are damaging your brain? You're not. Mm-hmm. So what's the problem with getting high? I'm still looking for the emergency here.
Right.
That's a great
And there's
point.
ways to get around it. There's ways to, if you're using something like a FICO or something that is going to be incredibly psychoactive, you do it before bed so you sleep through that super high part and you're still getting the benefits of the cannabinoid-based therapy.
But I will say too, I don't think people are running out to stores to go and stock up on this stuff like this article states or whatnot.
No, Paige is pulling a good old Stanley Brothers play and trying to sell out.
Yeah, I'm not.
Right now, which is really.
Yeah, I'm not buying none of that, because I haven't seen no enforcement, nothing. There hasn't even been any like news stories of all of a sudden products being pulled off the shelf, which you would start to see if this was really happening.
I think Gavin Newsom just got mad because they picked Kamala Harris instead of him. He came back.
He's definitely mad about that.
In the news.
He's definitely mad. He's not the DEI hire.
He just came back fighting the wrong fights. Just stay in the news. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, this is the fault of the operators who reached in their mother liquor and tried to skirt getting an actual license to sell THC products. This is whose fault this is, and this was short-sighted on their part because out of greed, they have now challenged access for people who need this as medicine, and that's disgusting. Mathieu St. Germain, don't start with me.
And on that, we are going to go to